In 2019, 17.2 million March Madness brackets were submitted to ESPN.com. How many brackets do you think correctly predicted the outcome of all 32 games in the first round? 10,000? 1,000? 100? The actual number of brackets that were perfect through round 1 was 9. That is 0.000052%, or 1 in almost 2 million, which is well below the odds of being struck by lightning. Why is it so hard to perfectly predict the first round of March Madness? Let's talk about it. In an incredibly basic sense, the biggest reason it's so difficult to perfectly predict every game in the first round of March Madness is because there are so many potential outcomes. The first round features 32 games between two teams, which means the potential amount of unique outcomes in just the first round is 2 to the 32nd power, almost 4.3 billion potential outcomes. But not all of those outcomes are equally likely, and it would be ridiculous to treat them like they were. We can use previous tournament data from the website BetFirm to see how the different round 1 matchups have played out in the past to give us a better understanding of what the actual chances of a specific matchup will be. From 1985 to 2019, the 1 seed has beaten the 16 seed 139 times out of 140 total. This gives them a historical winning percentage of 99.3%. Next, the 2 seed has beaten the 15 seed 132 times out of 140, which is a winning percentage of 94.3%. As we go down the other seeds, you'll notice that while the higher seed is still more likely to win, the chances of them being upset grow as the seeds become closer in number. And that's not really surprising, that's how seeded tournaments are supposed to work. But the matchup between the 8 and the 9 seed is a little different. Through 2018, they were perfectly tied at 68 wins each. And then in 2019, the 9 seed teams won all 4 of their games against the 8 seed teams, making their record 68 and 72. So based on historical winning percentage, the 9 seed is currently the favorite team in the round 1 matchup, despite technically being the lower seed. Maybe they have a higher winning percentage due to psychological factors like an underdog mentality, but I think it's most likely random variation since these two are so evenly matched. I don't really know, but it's still interesting. Anyway, these percentages here give us a better understanding of how tricky it is to perfectly predict the first round of March Madness. When we multiply them all together, we see that there is about an 8% chance that these would all occur simultaneously in one region. This may not seem very high, but this 8% outcome is still the most likely to occur of all the other possible outcomes. Your odds of correctly predicting round 1 get significantly worse though, because what we've been looking at so far is only 1/4 of the entire first round. There are 4 total regions of 1 through 16 seeds battling it out, so we have to do the exact same calculations 3 other times. After raising 8% to the 4th power, we get 0.004%. 0.004% is so small, and yet it is still the most likely outcome in the entire first round of March Madness. That might sound insane, but keep in mind the numbers we talked about before. Considering that there are over 4 billion different ways that the first round can go, an outcome with 0.004% likelihood is actually pretty good. If you were generating a random number between 1 and 4.3 billion, a 0.004% chance means you would succeed if you drew any number from 1 to 180,000. Still not likely, but perhaps not as bad as you thought. Do you think this specific outcome, the historically favored seed winning every round 1 game, has ever occurred in any of the 35 March Madness tournaments since 1985? It has not. Though we have come kind of close one time. In 2007, the East and South regions both went a perfect 8 for 8, with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 seeds winning their games. The Midwest region was off by just 1 game, where number 11 Winthrop upset number 5 Notre Dame, and the West region had 2 upsets, number 8 Kentucky beating number 9 Villanova, and number 11 VCU beating number 6 Duke. We were just 3 upsets away from the most likely outcome that could have possibly happened, and yet, to this date, this is the closest we've ever been. While I was looking over all these regions and years, I also counted the number of times that the historical favorite won every game in a single region. Remember that before we calculated the odds of this to be about 8%, so I expected to see something similar to that. Well, it turns out that of the 140 regions that have played out since 1985, there have been exactly 10 instances of the historical favorite winning every game. 10 out of 140 is about 7%, so it actually lines up pretty well with our calculated expectations. Interestingly, there was only one time ever where this happened in more than one region at once, and that was the 2007 tournament we talked about earlier. Every other time this happened, the region that had its favorites win all the games was the only region that year to do so. It's almost impossible to perfectly predict the first round of March Madness because there are too many different permutations that can occur. Even using math and historical data to our advantage, the most likely outcome for one region has only an 8% chance of occurring, and the most likely outcome for round 1 overall has just a 0.004% chance of occurring. Considering these numbers, it's no surprise that only 9 out of 17.2 million people got a perfect bracket in 2019. But hey, I'm still picking all the round 1 favorites in my bracket. Thanks for watching.